Welcome to ARC 1015 Architectural Plan, and this is the rainwater leader plan detail exercise in AutoCAD to finish off our year for 2020 winter term. This video is just going to show how you would go about drawing the drawing in AutoCAD. So there's a fair amount of background information that's available on Brightspace on how to start and how to do the drawings. That's covered in other videos, and then also the background of this whole sheet is covered in another video. But today I just want to get you going on the drawing. So first things that they tell you have to do is you got to edit your grids. So we've done that. We've edited the grids to be located here and here. I've just mirrored them down. This one I copied and moved over. Next thing it says you have to pick your rainwater leader. So I've gone and I've eliminated these other locations and decided this is where the rain leader is going to be located. And now I got to locate my partitions. So I go up to the partition schedule and I'm going to copy down the partitions. All right, so I'm just going to copy these partitions down. And it's best to copy them. If you end up moving them, then you're not sure where they'll be later. I've got the note here for later to speed things along. And so I'm going to locate my partitions. So I'm going to copy the partition and the type, and I'm going to locate it in relationship to where the gypsum board is. And I'm going to locate this one, same thing, with the gypsum board in mind. Copy that right to there. And then next thing I'm going to locate this partition happening here, and it's 300 millimeters off the grid. So I'm going to offset the grid 300 and 300 and 300, and I'm going to copy. So I'm going to copy my partition types, copy that up, and it's the stud that we're using, the stud line to locate that where they intersect, and I'm going to copy this one over and place it right there too. Now we don't need these internal gypsum board lines, so we'll get rid of those. And I'm going to just kind of take and extend by stretching, I'm going to extend the studs and everything out to the edge of the drawing, and stretch and bring everything out to the edge of the drawing. And I'm going to stretch this, and I'm going to bring it to the steel stud, and I'm going to stretch this one down to the steel stud as well. There. We're going to clean up let's clean up that gypsum board line by using fillet. So I'm going to fillet, and just space barring allows me to stay in that command. So I got my gypsum board line. Is that all complete? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at our line weights. So I have a line weight tool here, and it looks like we need to change this internal one. So I'm going to match properties, and I'm going to match this to that. There. And that gives us the look that we want. So our details nicely cleaned up. Our gypsum board line's looking good. Next thing, let's finish off our stud work, and I need a stud here to support that gypsum board, so let's copy that up. And let's copy this one. There, so my gypsum boards support it. We don't need this one anymore. And we don't need that one up there either. Delete. There'll be another one here at 400, so I'm going to go copy that at 400. I need my ortho on, and I go 400, enter, and it places it right there. All right, we got our line partition types. Let's get those in place. So I'm going to move that there and stretch it, and I didn't copy this one earlier, but I'm going to move it over there now. I'm going to copy this guy, take off my ortho, and I'm just going to place it. I don't want to place it here. It's going to get conflicting with that grid line, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll just move the line. There. All right, partition types. Partition, the gypsum board's in, the studs are all in place. Now I need the sound bat insulation in here, and it's a line type that we're going to use, so I'm just going to copy that down. Right, so I'm just going to copy this. It's a line type, so I'm just going to copy that down into that drawing, and there's going to be one. I'm going to have another one here, and I can kind of put one here, and you can just take the line type, and it's a pretty neat little tool. You can just stretch it to where you need it to go, and I need it to go to the center of that, right? And then I can copy that over to here, right there. Okay. And you can just grab the blue grips and pull it back. There you go. And there. So what you're seeing is that that line type's a nice thing, but you're going to have to learn when you're drawing in AutoCAD that sometimes when you use things like this line type that's all set up for you, sometimes it works out great, has a nice look to it, you know, then it starts getting a little on the suspect side of things, and then it really starts kind of getting way over the top. So let's kind of say there's going to be times when you're going to take artistic license, and that line type works in a module, so we'll take out a whole module when you go to shorten it, right, at a time. It'll take out a module at a time, right? So it adds, takes. So what I want to do is just pull it back a bit, and then I just want to move it down. Use your control key and your arrows and just nudge it down, and then this one, same thing. I'm just going to take it, select it, pull it back. Should have my ortho on. Pull that back, and then same thing, move it a little bit, nudge, control key down, and arrows. So there's my sound bat in place. Next thing I want to do is get my dimensions set up. So I can just kind of run up, do a dimension, quick, right? Just snap a dimension in there. It's not the right type that I want. Oops, that should be 300. I didn't quite get where I had to go. Pick the wrong thing. There it is. 300 millimeters. I'm going to match that. If I go up to my match properties, I can match that dimension. And then down here, let's just say, well, I've got a dimension. Let's just copy it. You can just, sometimes it's just as easy to copy a dimension, right? And then to take the node and the blue grip of the node and move it up, and there you have it. And you can always edit it and change it a little bit after. Okay, so there's our dimensions in place. The note, I won't go through the hassle of typing in that note, eats up a fair amount of time, but here's the note that we're going to use. So there's our note. But what I want to do is some editing to it. So it's pointing in the wrong direction, so if you pull it, it'll switch automatically for you. And I'm just gonna snap it down there on the gypsum board. So now what I want is that I like to have this landing. I like to have it orientated down here closer to the object, so we can always edit that stuff over here. All that leader stuff can be all edited here in properties. And I'm gonna, on the right attachment, it says the middle of the top line. I'm gonna change that to the middle of the bottom line. You can't see this list, I know, because my video creator here is not the best. And so anyway, it's I'm changing it to middle of bottom line, and so now I can kind of take that and pull that down. Now there's 3 objects inside of that note. I like kind of bulking up notes on typical details like this because it's just one note I can copy and move. I don't have to move 3 different things, but I'd like to have the arrows pointing to the 3 things so that nobody misses anything. So I'm going to hover over this blue grip, and a little window opens up, and you can't see that, I know, through the video viewer that it's not showing, but it says add a leader. So when you get there, you can kind of play with your blue grips and add a leader and just put a couple more leaders into those objects. All right, so that's kind of working with the note, the dimensions, some different ways you can get to where you want to go. And so let's look at our detail. How are we doing? I think we're pretty good. This is the list of things of what you need in the detail. So our notes, materials, we got that done. our wallboard corners support it. We did that. A wallboard required on the inside. We've got that. Line weight at gypsum board, we fixed that. Remember, we went in here and changed the properties of that. And dimension stud locations from the grid, we did that. And symbols, gypsum board hatch. We did not get that done. That's this thing here. So hatch is a pretty tricky thing, but if you think about how it's going to work, sometimes it's going to be more of your friend than an enemy. So let's kind of make things simple for the hatch to work by using our layer management system here by isolating only the layers that we want to work with for our hatch, which is going to be our gypsum board layer, our border layer, and of course our gypsum board hatch layer. So we'll isolate those, and all we're left with is this to do our hatch. Now, when I go to hatch this gypsum board, it's going to fill in here, so you have to kind of look and start doing a little bit of cleaning up, but that's all you got to do. It looks like it's going to work out fine. Take my layer management system here, and I'm going to go make current the hatch layer for the gypsum board, and then I'm going to go over to hatch, and I'm going to pick that hatch, and then I'm going to pick match properties, right? I'm going to match the properties of that hatch, and then I'm going to go to it'll hatch where it can see, right, where it can see full things. But if you're not within the window, it won't hatch that. You have to kind of sometimes uncomfortably zoom out when you're trying to hatch these little areas. You have to zoom out because it has to be totally within the window or it won't hatch. Okay, so it has to be within the window. If I come back out and I go over, it's going to hatch. Okay, so you just have to be within window. I like hatching one thing at a time so that if I ever have to edit, I'm not having to edit all the hatch. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Delete hatch and pick that hatch. Spacebar back into the hatch, and done. So there's our hatch all done up. You have to unisolate things, right? You have to unisolate things, and there you go. So that's your drawing right there. You go out, SK1, it's all set up to plot. You just have to edit the date, the name, and your class. And then it's ready as a PDF to plot. You'll batch plot this PDF with the other two, and that file, you'll drop it into Brightspace for assessment. Well, happy drawing, everyone.